Hey, what's going on everyone? Greg here, and we finally have it, the 2018 iPad Pro. We have been looking forward to this device for quite some time. This is the 11-inch version, and you can see that I brought a few friends along with me for the ride too. We have the Smart Keyboard and the new Apple Pencil 2. A new Apple Pencil that just magnetically attaches to the side of this iPad Pro and charges it. Has a new matte finish too, looks really, really nice. So let's go ahead and unbox this first, and then we can go in and give our first impressions of this new iPad Pro. Brand new USB-C charger, just mentioning this in the video. This is the first time Apple is shipping a 18-watt charger that does USB-C to USB-C charging in the box. Okay, I just stepped away from that camera for a few moments just to take a look and really experience this iPad Pro for a couple hours to kind of give you some first initial impressions of how this thing looks, how it performs. One of the first things you notice is that striking new redesign on the new 11-inch iPad Pro. If you take a look at the old 10.5-inch iPad Pro and the new 11-inch iPad Pro, you can see that on the sides, the bezels on the new one are actually a little bit bigger, but there's an even bezel all the way around the device. So if you notice on the 10.5 versus the 11-inch, the top and bottom bezels are much smaller on the 11-inch over here. And on the 10.5-inch, the side bezels are actually a little bit smaller, but this massive chin, this massive forehead on top of the device are gone. So you get this really, really, really nice look with all complete even bezels around the device. I've been hearing a lot of people call this new 11-inch iPad Pro bezel-less, and that's kind of not the case. There's still a significant amount of bezel for you to kind of grip your fingers onto as you're holding the device in either landscape or portrait orientation. If anything, there's more bezel if you're holding this in portrait orientation now for you not to slip your fingers on. Although if you do hold it and you do put your hand on the screen like this, the rejection is good enough to know that you are holding an iPad Pro. It's not going to mess up any of your touch inputs, so don't worry about the reduced bezel size affecting the way you use your iPad Pro. Now, this new iPad Pro looks a lot like the original iPad in certain ways, and phones like the iPhone 4 and the iPhone 5 and 5S, you get these nice flat edges in comparison to the older iPad Pro. And it just feels really nice to actually hold this thing in the hands. It's one of those things I'm really gonna struggle to explain to you guys just how nice this feels in the hands. Everything just feels solid, really solid build quality, just a really nice balance to the device. Even the weight, the way it's distributed, just feels really, really good in the hands in either landscape or portrait orientation. I keep looking at this device, I keep looking at the screen. The screen is really, really nice. I know Apple didn't mention too many improvements on the screen, and I can't tell if maybe it's just the new device effect or anything like that, but this screen just looks really nice, really vivid, a really good LCD panel on this iPad Pro. You'll also notice for the design and the back of the device, there's actually a new smart connector. So it is different from the old smart connector. It's actually a little bit smaller than these big pins that they have on the back. And that is, of course, to attach it to the new keyboard case. A new redesign on the camera bump on the 11-inch iPad Pro. It looks a lot bigger compared to the 10.5-inch iPad Pro, but this is supposed to have similar quality to the iPhone XR, although I don't think it's exactly the iPhone XR camera system. You'll notice on the bottom of the device, you actually have a new USB-C port. This is the first iPad Pro to ever have a USB-C port, switching away from Lightning. And you'll also notice on each side, you have two speakers here. And then if you flip over, you have two speakers here. Of course, you have your volume up and down buttons on the side over here. You have the sleep wake button on the top and a new little thing over here, which is a magnet. So you can actually take your Apple Pencil and put it right on there, and it attaches and starts charging right to your iPad Pro. So even video quality on this thing looks really stellar on that liquid retina display that Apple is now calling on the iPhone XR and now on the new 11 and 12.9-inch iPad Pros. You'll notice that there's no more home button on the 11-inch iPad Pro. This is part of Apple's new gesture system that is originally found on the iPhone X and now on the iPhone XS, iPhone XS Max, and iPhone XR. And because there's no home button, that means you get those brand new gestures. So if you swipe up from your iPad, you go to the home screen. You can also swipe up and hold to get to the multitasking window in iPads. It takes a little bit of getting used to, especially considering the dock is on the bottom, and to summon the dock, you have to kind of slide up a little bit slower than you would be if you were just going to the home screen. But once you do that, You can also access things like multitasking on your iPad Pro. Now, this 11-inch iPad manages to fit a bigger screen inside of the same body as the 10.5-inch iPad Pro. So it's not bigger, it's not more unwieldy or anything like that. You're just getting a slightly 0.5-inch bigger screen. But with that big screen also comes a new aspect ratio. So it's going to be a 3:2 aspect ratio. And if you're asking if I've run into any problems with the new aspect ratio, that would be a yes. So far, there's a couple of unoptimized apps that I've noticed that haven't been refitted to the new 11-inch 3.2 aspect ratio. So if you go into an app like Twitter, which has not yet been optimized for the new 11-inch iPad Pro, you'll notice that there are black bars on the top and bottom of the device. Ideally, the app will take up the full entire portion of the iPad Pro's 11-inch screen, so there shouldn't be any black bars on the top or bottom. Hopefully, developers are very quick to optimize and update their apps for this new tablet. Although in the past, developers have been slow to update their apps, so just hoping it happens soon, but maybe that is an advantage for the 12.9-inch version of this device because that still has a 4:3 aspect ratio. So if you want to get a new iPad Pro, you don't want to deal with any unoptimized apps, getting the 12.9-inch version should be a little bit better. So the camera on this thing actually looks pretty good just by going outside and taking a quick couple of snapshots. I kind of zoomed in, blew it up. There's no portrait mode on the back of the iPad Pro, which is weird to me because the iPhone XR can do it and it only has a single lens camera. And the chip inside of this is more powerful, so it should have no trouble processing that portrait image. Maybe Apple just thinks people don't want to take portrait mode photos on an iPad Pro. You know, there's a stigma against people taking photos on iPads. But I figure why not just add the capability, especially if this thing can do it. There's really no reason for portrait mode not to be enabled on the back of this device. Now, on the front of this device, you do get the front portrait mode feature. And of course, you're going to be using Animoji as well. So it makes sense that Apple added the true depth camera system on the front of this. It's capable of doing it. There's no reason not to add it. So if you want to take portrait mode selfies, you can do that on the front-facing camera, and of course you could do your Animojis as well. Now, the speakers on this thing, Apple said they improved them too by adding in tweeters and subwoofers to the side of them. Just based on my initial testing with these things, man, do these things sound really good. Even better than the 10.5-inch iPad Pro, which did have some pretty decent speakers inside of them. This thing just blew it out of the way. Immediately when I played it, you could just instantly hear the difference in sound quality. These speakers in this iPad Pro sound better than most laptop speakers I've heard. So it's really crazy that Apple has managed to get these loud speakers inside of that iPad Pro. Of course, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the new Face ID camera system inside of this iPad Pro. So now you can unlock this iPad with your face, much like the iPhone 10, iPhone XS, iPhone XR. But the unique thing about the iPad Pro's Face ID system is that you can unlock it in any orientation. So of course you can unlock it in portrait mode, but you can also unlock it in landscape mode. Not only can you unlock it in landscape mode, but you can unlock it on the other side of landscape mode. Or even if you hold this thing upside down, it will unlock. Really hoping to see Apple bring that improvement to the iPhone 10 series. I was really worried about Face ID considering how you hold an iPad, but so far it's been working really well with only one crevice. If you cover up that camera on the Face ID, if you're holding it in your left hand and your palm goes over it, you will get a notification saying that the camera is covered. But other than that, this Face ID system is really, really fast and it feels really nice. I'm really happy they brought it to this new iPad Pro because I've been switching between the 10.5-inch iPad Pro and my iPhone XR and iPhone XS Max, and not having that camera there, not having it able to unlock my face, I always felt, hey, this is broken, it's not unlocking. And then I remember, oh yeah, I have to put my fingerprint on the device like a Neanderthal, but now that's all fixed, just unlocks with your face. Of course, we have that brand new A12X chip inside of it. I haven't done any extensive testing on Pro apps like Affinity Photo, Procreate. I want to save that for the full review, but you can look up the Geekbench scores. It's getting like an over 18,000 multi-core score and an over 5,000 on the single-core score. Really impressive stuff for an iPad Pro. This thing is beating out a lot of laptops, and I just can't wait to see what the A13X chip does. That's going to be insane. Okay, so as we know, the iPad Pro comes with two accessories that are pretty important to it. One is the keyboard, and the other is this new Apple Pencil. So let's go ahead and talk about that for a little moment. So this is the iPad Pro's new Smart Keyboard Folio. You'll notice that it actually has a smart connector on the back of the device, and I was confused when I first saw this product line. How is this actually going to connect into the iPad Pro? Is it still going to be as easy to take off as the old smart keyboard found on the 10.5-inch iPad Pro? And I was very happy to report that yes, there's no folds that go into the top of the device. It just instantly snaps onto the smart keyboard. You just lay it flat and then you can put it in one or two angles for typing. This is a first for the iPad Pro where you're able to change the angle at which you're typing at. Because this is a keyboard smart folio, it now covers the back of the device as well, so you can just fold this thing up kind of like a laptop, and you're ready to go, throw it in your bag and get on with your day. Typing on this thing is very similar to the old 10.5-inch smart keyboard, kind of the same exact keyboard layout. And again, for me, it is so important to have a keyboard case that you can also just quickly detach and use this thing as a tablet. Because when I'm writing, I want to use my iPad Pro and a keyboard, and when I want to use it on the go, when I want to sit down on the couch, when I want to read an article, I want to hold it in a tablet form. I don't want to fold it up and stuff like that. Okay, and lastly, let's talk about this new Apple Pencil, what people are calling the Apple Pencil 2. It gets a slight redesign where it actually has a little bit of an indent going along the top of the pencil. That prevents it from rolling on the table. If you just set it down, the old Apple Pencil will do like a little roll before it kind of came to a stop. So little improvement there. A nice new matte finish, so it feels a little more grippier, feels a little bit more comfortable while you're holding this in your hand. Pairing the Apple Pencil is dead simple too. You just kind of connect it to the top of this magnet over here. It instantly snaps on and begins a pairing process. You see the Apple Pencil pop up on the side of the iPad Pro, and you just hit connect and it's instantly paired to the new iPad Pro. No more cap on the top to charge this thing, so no more losing that cap, no more plugging it into the bottom of the device. Charging is just as simple. You just plop it on the top over here and it just starts instantly charging, and you even get this really nice notification that notifies you that your Apple Pencil is docked, and then you see the little battery percentage pop up on the top. See, this guy's not falling down. Very stable, very good. Although don't try picking it up by the Apple Pencil. It's not that stable. No, don't do that. You're gonna break your iPad doing that. Latency on the Apple Pencil is just as good as the old 10.5-inch iPad Pro, where it has that 20 milliseconds latency. Still has Pro Motion on the screen, so as you're swiping through your apps, as you're drawing, it's very, very fluid. So besides that wireless charging, one of the only new features on this Apple Pencil 2 is a new gesture for a quick action. So you can map shortcuts to this. So all you have to do is double tap the Apple Pencil. This gesture is also customizable as well. So if you go into settings, you can change the Apple Pencil gesture to something else. And I believe you can customize this within any app. So if you wanted to change it to zooming in like they did in the Photoshop demo at the keynote, you can do that. If you want to use it as an eraser, you can do that as well. Or if you want to change colors or change a brush, you can do that as well. Okay, everyone, and that's gonna do it for this video. Again, this isn't a full review of this product. This is just my initial first impressions with it. And so far, I am really enjoying this iPad Pro. This is the update of a lifetime. It is such a big update to the design of this product. It's so rare that we see the iPad get a major redesign. Everything from the flatter edges, to the screen size, to the bezel reductions on the sides, to the new USB-C port, the new way the Apple Pencil connects and charges, and even the new keyboard, a new redesign of the keyboard folio. It is a complete redesign. Really going to have to do a lot of testing just to find out who exactly should be purchasing this iPad Pro and who it's really going to benefit. But so far, my initial impressions are just really strong. Seems like a great device so far. Okay, guys, let me know what you think of the iPad Pro in the comments below, and let me know if there's any specific features you want me to cover in my full review that'll be coming later this month. Okay, guys, and that's going to do it for the video. Make sure you let me know what you think of the iPad Pro in the comments below, some of the features you're interested for me to test. Also, if you guys are interested in supporting the channel in any way, we do sell merchandise. I'll plug that again. I'm wearing one of the shirts for that new store. You can find that in the link in the description below and also in the pinned comment. Still getting a lot of new people here, so I think we're going to do another 20% off sale off the merchandise. Promo code's going to be in the pinned comment and in the description in this video. Also, guys, if you like this video, make sure you give it a like. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you want to see more, including that iPad Pro review. And of course, I will always see you in the next video. Take care, everyone.